Oh, I just forgot to do that. Okay, one second. I want to press record again. So this is part 3 of our chat with Greg Foreman. We were just talking about Al Green and him being literally a national treasure and just this unique combination of things that I admire. But Greg is going to tell us a story about it. And I was talking about there's a YouTube of a song, Jesus is Waiting, where he's doing a live performance on a television, American Bandstand. And it's just amazing just to listen. It's very quiet. I think I might go in there and try and beef up the sound and put it right back in the mix and see. They might sue me about it. I might just say it. I'm in that unique position if they won't make an example out of me because I'll just dismiss it. First of all, if all the major labels got together and tried to get me for ripping off copyrights or something or anything, I would fry them over accounting. I'd go, you ripped off every single band you've ever worked with. Let's do this accounting on every single subject. Here's my witness. Here's Cool in the Gang. Tell us about their accounting. Just straight up, I would just burn them to the ground, and I could pay any fine. So fuck them.
Right.
Anyways, but going back to, plus I got other aces in the hole. With Cargo, we have the biggest label on the planet. We have 50,000 titles in circulation, hard copy, like you buy the records. 50,000 albums. Right? No, there ain't no major label on the planet that has 50,000 titles that you can order. We do all the major label shit. We do fucking every single indie label you can think of. Cargo UK, man, is the shit. But, it all depends on your relationship with a label. You first have to know the question. The one piece of advice before we get back to your thing, I got to tell people when they get into this contract business is, if somebody hands you a contract, remember one thing. You have a right to hand them back a contract too. It's just like an exchange of ideas. Nothing's signed. So you can just go, oh, that's cool. I'm going to read your contract tonight. I'll come back to you tomorrow. Here's my contract. And you could just do that to the biggest company in the world. You could do that to Google. And in fact, they wouldn't even ever treat you seriously at Google unless you brought your own contract with your own CV or whatever. If you dropped off your resume, they'd laugh. You go, this is what I want.
Right.
But, okay, so enough with the fucking music business because, I wouldn't ask those guys an opinion. Do they like my haircut? Do they think these shoes, my Australian desert boots are cool? Or I wouldn't ask them their opinion on anything, the fat, ugly dickheads. And here I am having them decide my whole life, my dreams.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
Okay, let's talk about something that did sound right. Did you go see Al Green?
Yeah, I've been to his church a number of times in Memphis.
Wow.
And he gets up and does the whole sermon.
Yeah.
But my mom and I went to see him because we bond on 60s music, and so we were backstage and I was all excited, and my mom's like, "Oh, this is my son, he's a big fan of your music," and he's like, great, and then kind of totally dismissed me and was like totally all over her, like, "You're a very beautiful, attractive lady," And I just witnessed Al Green,
smoothing her.
Yeah, like nobody else can in a full white suit,
Fucking smooth.
I was like, wow.
Smooth B from The Onion could get her. That's the best thing when they're rolling those columns. It's so funny. I will take you around the known universe of love, visiting all the planets and sexual positions. Orange juice will also be served, and then I'll hit that shit doggy style. It's like, I don't know if any of you follow that. You can look at the Onion online. It's the same people that do the Daily Show, and it's the same guy runs the Onion now, Onion Media, but it used to be these guys from Madison, Wisconsin, and it's just, for the most part, it's off the hook.
I can actually post a link right now for them if they want it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, on it.
It's a good laugh, especially for us. We travel around. They have this free paper. It'll be everywhere. So when you come in, you can look at it and have a giggle.
Right. Yeah. It's great. It's one of the old standbys.
Yeah, and also when we're in these towns, we get to see what review they republish for when our bands come to town. They're the same one since like
right.
96 for us. They've got glockenspiels and also fist fights, or something. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
They're cool. I mean, because we don't pay them to put us as the thing. We don't pay people for any of that crap. I hate all that stuff. That's all the incidentals and stuff. That's what screws people thinking about how they're going to do a tour or anything. It's all these little bits and bobs of like how you get your band out there if you're making like a 7-inch single. How do you get your band known?
Yeah, well, back in the old days, as you know, like some of these kids don't know, but like I'd have to get on the phone and make phone calls, stuff out of like Maximum Rock and Roll, and like, fucking try and book a tour.
Tim, those guys. He died or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Him, Jack Rabbit, all those guys. Big takeover?
Yeah, big takeover.
Let's go back to the 21st birthday of Matador.
Yeah, okay.
Regardless of what you think about any of these things.
Hey, the cloud.
Andy Partridge. I have a funny story about him too. Okay, but we're not talking about Andy Partridge or Swindon or XTC or even the Dukes of Stratosphere, folks. We're talking about...
I love the Dukes of Stratosphere.
Of course we love that. It's 25 o'clock all the time.
Vanishing Girl. So, okay, yeah, what do you want to know about the Matador thing?
Okay, well, so Sonic Youth played?
Yeah, they actually...
And Steve Shelby was playing drums?
Oh, yeah.
Because he doesn't travel with them anymore or anything. He just did it for that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I thought they have somebody else, don't they? Didn't he drop out? He was too old to be the drummer?
No, they had they had Mark Ibold from Pavement playing bass for a little while. And then also, but no, they stripped it back down to the, second lineup, which was, Kim, Thurston, Lee, and Steve. And they ended with Death Valley 69, which was like...
Everybody loves it.
Oh man, they killed it. They could compete with them for the rest of the festival. Poor Pavement, they had to go on after, and it was like.
Well, people don't really understand what all these. There's all these bands that play an important rock part. Remember when you just said where we made it safe for everybody, where this became like a lifestyle option rather than this option of you going out dressed like this could be the end of your lifestyle option.
Right.
Exactly. But I'm not complaining. It was exciting. It's good exercise running from whole football teams after the fucking... You would just be walking by the school and the coach would go, "Get the faggot!" And everybody would chase you.
Yeah, they would.
Institutionalized. Sometimes we'll talk to some of these guys from Newport Beach where I grew up, and when I was in junior high school, I was the only punk rocker in a 2,700 person school. This is a long time ago. This is before Kurt Cobain fucking, this is before he even knew what punk was. He was just trailer trash, This is like a long time ago. And everybody from the high school came to Ensign, the little school. These are the two high schools that are in those OC shows, you know what I mean? It's like everybody came to fucking with sticks to beat the fuck out because the whole school tried to kill me at once. I had 300 people punching me, and I just was fucking rolling it, I was like, well, fuck you, and just kept walking as people were all just... I was brand new at the school, And that was it. That cinched it. Of course, next week I was like the hero of everybody. They just do that to show you that they're not afraid of you. Because I was like, it was like David Bowie and them, coming out there like Ziggy Stardust. People are like, what the fuck is this?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Or something. Like him coming out on Dinosaur or whatever, or one of those things. So people are like, well, what the fuck is going on with that guy? Not knowing. Obviously, now you look at David and you talk about it. You look at his whole career and it's something to talk about.
Right, of course.
But then, he was such a hack for so long until all the ducks got in a row. Even though we love the 60s stuff, to everybody else it was just drivel.
Right. No, totally.
I like his take on the stuff. Okay, so poor Pavement had to follow Sonic Youth, and of course they had to be in that position because their much anticipated return and tour and remarketing and rebranding of Pavement. They're going to introduce them to the new generation because guess what? Kids don't care. They forget about their own mythology. Pavement wasn't big because people loved Pavement. Pavement was big because every magazine was telling you to love Pavement.
Right.
They weren't even a spectacular band. What I wanted to say is there was all these groups, the Pixies included, that were these developmental groups that had just enough elements of rock licks in them, or some kind of format, or the bridge in the middle of the song. They were doing something exactly so AOR fans, people could really switch from Journey and AC/DC and Led Zeppelin straight over into a new haircut and a new lifestyle. And that's really what it was. And there are like loads of these bands. Anybody who pulls off one of these crazy leads, besides Jeff Davies, anybody who can pull some crazy pentatonic scale out of their hat, I automatically know is an asshole.
Yeah.
Because it's the weirdest fucking way. If you ever listen to all this German prog rock bands, it's a whole room of people who have no ideas but know a scale.
Yeah, exactly.
And then whole records of these people just noodling like that. And like Metallica, when they did that whole orchestra, like Master Puppets, or when did they start getting really weird? What was less than heavy metal? It was like, what are you guys? It was what Metallica became. You know, they're like, well, the way we write songs is we'll just bring parts. So like, this would be a cool riff. Yeah, we'll just smash this one. So they're basically doing some crazy 8-bit sampling mashups, you know? They're just like, okay, we'll just take this thing that doesn't go together, and this will really trip everybody out. But, you know, I always hated all that stuff. What did you think of Metallica when it was going down?
Yeah, well, to be honest, like, I didn't mind Ride the Lightning, but, like, I didn't really get it. Like, this is what I was listening to when all that shit was going down.
Oh, of course.
This
I'm sorry, we can't play Killing of an Arab because we're having a war right now. We're taking all their oil, and we wouldn't want people to use it as a weapon. We'll all them with phosphorus.
But, you know, you weren't going to get beat up for listening to Metallica, but for some reason, the kids that in my school, like, the first day I showed up...
You were all smoking by the back fence together.
Well, I showed up wearing, like, eyeliner and this kind of crazy hair, and I remember the
Were you talking like this? Lipstick on cherry all over, and I kiss you falling high.
I was talking like more, yeah, like
like Robert Smith.
The guy was like, "What the fuck is that?" You know? I was like, "Oh shit!" So the metal dudes, we bonded in the middle over the Misfits. So
yeah, there you go.
They would protect us kind of art fag kids, and so I learned to like listen to some of that stuff, but it was never really my bag.
Sure, from hanging out. See, my beef with all that shit is the same guy that would slap you on the shoulder and say, "Yeah, nice Metallica patch, dude. This is going to kick your ass." The same people that are into Led Zeppelin and AC/DC are the people that are out for blood against you because, you know, it's all that shit. I don't even know why girls even go with those guys in high school because all those marriages break up.
Yeah.
Very few of them are so dumb that they actually stay together for some misguided reason.
Well, one of my best revenges is I was, years later, I went back to my hometown and I was at like a 7-Eleven. And one of these dudes that used to totally give me a hard time was like the cashier.
So,
and I'm like, not that there's anything wrong with working at a place like that, but I was like,
typical, right?
Yeah, it was just like...
Karma.
Cheers, you know?
Yeah, people are really weird too when they think that, like, I forget because I look exactly the same basically as when I was 12 and all that stuff. And for an adult, I mean, besides a white beard, it's just genetics. It just turned white. You know, I don't dye my hair. It's just like,
Well, you have your hair, so that's a good start. Somebody was saying that to me today. I just turned 38. I still have hair, so thankfully.
But you know, even that's just genetics. You just gotta leave it the way it is. Like I mean, it's cool if Bono wants to be a billionaire and have go to a carpet shop for a haircut, you know, or whatever. But for me, it just epitomizes everything to having a fake name that I hate about rock and roll. Now I know there's a big tradition about people not wanting to be called Chaim fucking Warnicker or whatever, you know, Gene Simmons' real name is in Kiss.
Right.
His name is Chaim something.
Right, right.
And it's so funny also when the really extreme Hasidic, like one generation away from Hasidic, you know, like peasants from Poland, basically from this 14th century religious sect, that's what it is, you know. Right. When those people like go, oh, I've got to change my name because Chaim sounds so stupid, and they pick Gene instead. I never quite get that. It's like, yeah, let's go racy, rock and roll, Gene. It's like, where do they get the? It's like, how did you go? Well, Chaim's a little bit too weird, you know. I'll go for Gene. It was like when we were naming my son. You know, I want to name him Zeus. You know, and his mother was like, "That's fucking rad, except we cannot name him that. He's not. He'll be killed by other children for being named the King of Gods." And I'm like, "Fuck that."
Yeah.
You know?
That's a great.
Fuck that. He's not gonna get killed for that. So she's like, "No, let's name him Herman."
I like, you know, he could probably convince kids that he could throw lightning bolts their way, you know?
No, when he first taught himself to talk and all that stuff, you know, she asked him away from me. She goes, "You know, what do you think of the name Zeus?" And he's like, "That's my name." And I'd never told him that that's his name. You know, he's kept it.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, that's what makes me. I'm into that stuff even more than Art Bell. The real stuff.
Yeah.
You know, when we were doing Dig, I took over that movie. That movie was about 10 of these groups that we talk about, but a little bit more like the Guitar Center employees in LA and their bands and their dreams. It was about those people trying to break into the music business and the management of Red Hot Chili Peppers, but specifically it was their agents, right? Were after me to pick me up. They were trying to get me the whole time to be the next Kurt Cobain.
Oh, good Lord.
The next Beck guy or whatever, but except the problem was my independent streak going, well, that's cool. While we're talking about this 7-record $1 million deal, let's put out a 7-inch with no contract. Okay, well, you're not going to, okay, you're going to make me sign a contract. I'm going to put out this album right now with this man right here, and I'm going to put in a lawyer's office on a retainer a piece of paper that says, even if I die, you are never allowed. Anybody who buys your corporation is never allowed to sell this product.
Right.
And I just started going, now check this out. I'm going to put out 5 records out this year until you fucking do exactly what I tell you to. You're buying me a studio, and I'm the producer, and we don't have these conversations. And I did it, and they were like, holy shit. And then they were like, here's the money.
Wow.
But then that went nowhere. Because they were obviously, you know, they pulled a fast one on me. They were like, get ready for the revolution. Just because we were talking about, yeah, we're going to throw this fucking thing. We're going to throw this movie into the fucking mix, and we're going to show everybody how to do this shit. Well, they already had it in for me. They're like, no, we're going to show you dying. And how this doesn't work.
That's what they hoped. They didn't probably count on you continuing.
Well, also, the other thing about that is, of course not. I mean, where the fuck is Evan Dando and all this big talk? Motherfucker. I mean, he's funny, but, you know, where the fuck is he? Where are all these kings and captains? Everybody I had to you know, sometimes I wonder about, you know, people tell me, like, why don't you just do it for real, like, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club? I'm like, because I don't intend to get dropped and not own my record in 1 month, and like they did. I'm like, just because they're my mates, come on. But I mean, just because you're in Chan's a different situation. Your group is a completely different situation because we have this other thing aspect besides being marketed by whoever we're associating with to put out a record or whatever. People find it in natural ways. People eavesdrop into it, and people identify with it for whatever. Just like if I was in Motorhead or anything else, it's the same kind of thing with our fans as any of these bands. There's people that just identify with it, whatever it is, Hawkwind, any of these things, and they just are there forever. But
right.
What I was going to say is, like, nobody knows that the young people out here watching this. There's tons of musicians and people watch this recording in the future. They don't understand that people are sending me these links to YouTube from all over the world, and those bands can't watch their own music. They literally cannot hear their own music on the radio because it's not being marketed, and the publishers aren't allowing it even to be shown on YouTube. Their thing is out of mind, out of sight. There's more. Right. People don't understand when the Beatles were #1, the biggest band in the world, their record of selling records was 350,000 copies of a record. The Zombies sold 1 million copies 2 times in a row of their first 2 singles. The Zombies were 3 times bigger than any I Want to Hold Your Hand. That's a fact. Did you know that?
Is there another band from Liverpool besides Echo and the Bunnymen?
Yeah, exactly. There is. You know,
really?
Yeah, they're called Teardrop Explodes, right?
Yes, I like them too, actually.
You know, they're called The Law. The Laws are good.
Right. Right.
And Lee Mavers was just a real interesting guy. What he did is he got right in the belly of the beast, and when they cracked the whip and said, "No, you signed. We tell you how your record, our record sounds," he just put the brakes on it. So they were sitting on the biggest record in the world. So then they had to invent something else, and there was the Stone Roses to just step right in to the whole machine geared up. But I remember the Laws were on tour with Elvis Costello. But he just put the brakes on the whole thing. People, it's not his fucking crazy attitude. He wanted to sound kind of like a new kind of skiffle. What's wrong with that? They sounded great like that.
They sounded great. That record was great.
No, but I mean, the record's rawer than that. The record's more like...
Well, I heard, there's different productions of it. The original one's different.
Yeah.
I mean, I like...
It's great to us. Steve Lillywhite, whoever did a great job. But he still used all of his U2 tricks, right? Because he'd just done U2 right before that. He just put all them fucking delays in it on everything and all those, like, gated reverbs on the snare and all that. That's where it wrecks it a little bit. But, man, it's so good. It's still so good. And people love it.
I always thought, like, a great-sounding record was the first Suicide record.
It is absolutely amazing. There's lots of things amazing about it. With a sequential circuit, or they're using something earlier than that with these keyboards, like a Ream keyboard, with the distortion in, the low end, doing that kind of stuff. Like Martin Rev was using all kinds of weird shit that he could get his hands on. Those guys, that's just great. It's the composition of that. It's minimalism, but the way they actually EQ'd the kick drum of the drum machine is like, it's pounding. They got it. They really tweaked that out. They're like, okay, we're using this little drum box, but check this out.
Right.
There's a lot of things that's right. It isn't just that he's doing the psychobilly thing on top of this weirder music. There's a whole tradition of those guys, not just Screaming Jay Hawkins or the Cramps Top People, Link Ray, and people going nuts with a little bit of that, singing all the 50s songs and stuff. That he's doing.
Exactly.
But there's a whole tradition of people, and that predated the actual psychobilly. These fucking rough riding. Even Hank Williams he was more gospel based, but he was one of those guys too. He didn't live.
Oh man, yeah, I love all of that stuff. Everything you just named, I love. I think for some reason, though, that first record is just... I just saw some interview that they did with Suicide, and they were just talking about how they just wanted to... They weren't involved in any scene. They were just making their own thing, and it's like... a
lot of that was... when they started out, like 72 or whatever, when they put punk on their flyers, the word punk and all that stuff, and being controversial... They were doing the thing that we used to do, which is basically, you make a pseudo gallery as an excuse to pay your rent by selling drinks. So you've got drinks, you come in, so it's like an art gallery.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're having a gallery opening. Oh, we're DJing. Oh, people are dancing all night long. Oh, yeah, we're selling drinks, but it's a private party.
Right, exactly.
So they were doing that art school really cool thing. It's like rent parties and stuff, down there in school. And yeah, really cool. And I think it's really cool, Little Steven. Those guys, that whole crew just hooked me up big time, Greg.
Oh, they did?
Well, I got the theme song to the Boardwalk Empire.
You do?
Yeah, so the New Sopranos, credits, DVD, everything for the next 5 years is me. It's straight up and down Take It From the Man.
Oh, fuck yeah. I didn't know. I haven't seen that show, but I heard it's interesting. But
he had a little bit to do with the Sopranos, and these guys are a whole associated group of people. Whether it's Scorsese down, they all know each other, and they're all like working, and people that work with each other work their crews, with the writing and stuff. That story. Now it's morphing again.
Right.
See, it's not really the New Sopranos. It's just one of the two writers making a new show, I guess. Same kind of team that brought you those people bringing it. But anyway, so those guys all stoked me. That was a big thank you from Scorsese's team.
Yeah, well, that's Little Steven guy's got a pretty good taste for...
But, they could pick anybody they want, including their cousins. Right? They could pick anybody arbitrary For the guys that decide to put the musical director of that show to put together and say, well, I'm going to have Jack Black doing the music for one episode. I'm spilling the beans, I guess. But it isn't just me in the credits. They've got like people putting shit through the whole thing. That's, I don't know. I kind of get it how it's spiritually connected. You got rebel music and these fringe people while this fringe storyboard's going down. All this, they're looking at a deeper level than let's just put fucking the chick from Glee's new single in the mix or whatever everybody else is doing, right?
Oh Jesus, yes. I just so I'm gonna have to split actually and go DJ soon. What?
Well, let me tell everybody where we have more than a couple people tuning in and out. Why don't you just tell everybody what's the name of the club? The Barbary?
Yeah, it's called the Barbary, and here in Philadelphia on the East Coast is what everywhere is about 9:40, and I'm going to DJ around from 10 to 2.
Perfect.
And playing like,
good stuff.
Old 60s stuff, psych, dancey stuff, good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really only interested in DJs that are super eclectic. I think it's the way to go again in the future. Either you really got to devastate people with the newest thing that's hot for about 1 second, or be a mixologist, or you really just got to mix it up and just keep it going all night. Then you can slip anything into the mix, even if some asshole goes, play Yngwie Malmsteen playing Happy Birthday. He broke his finger off, or something.
Oh my God. Man, everyone... Oh, some girl said, or a guy, I don't know, said, come to L.A. The thing is, I live in L.A., so...
You don't DJ at the Little Joy?
I actually don't. I've DJ'd at the Redwood, but...
Yeah, I was going to do a whole thing there.
The thing about L.A. DJs, just... Oh, she's a girl, okay. The thing is those DJs have the market cornered, and I've been to some of those nights, and a few are good, but it's kind of like... I don't want to, like, I've gone to Part-Time Punks a few times, and it's like, I want to go to, like, Factory Records night. I don't want to go to, like, see some, like, twee indie band, and, like,
Yeah, the smell.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just want to hear
that was our problem in San Francisco. Talk about people having locked down. It was all these bands like Psycho Funkopus. You wouldn't even remember, but these are B-grade, fucking Mike Patton ripoff bands and Chili Pepper ripoff bands, and you could not play. They would not let us play. They would not let anybody we knew with a band have a gig in San Francisco. So I broke the blockade. I said, fuck it. I'll just go talk to the Master Mason down here at the Masonic Temple. We're having shows all age limit here in the Lower Haight. Woohoo! Party's on me. It was just like... Then what could they say? Our first concert, we had 750 people show up, and then it was just up and up from there. It was just like... They always lie like in Dig. They're like, oh, they play for 10 people at a communist center, and we played 2 shows that night. So what? So our friends told us to play at some fucking warehouse space in Kentucky. I'm not even bent over that, but there's a lot more to this stuff. There's actually good times. So I want to suggest to people, if they have their shit together and you don't feel like jumping through the hoops in a place like LA, you got to hit up some of these Masonic temples, the big ones. LA is tough because people are prime. The Masonic Temple in LA that you could have rented is the fucking Disney Center that Jimmy Kimmel does his. It is spooky as shit, but the actual Disney owns it, and it is fucking creepy because it's not normal masonry. This is higher level shit. This is like beyond. This is real Kabbalah stuff, and they got all the Disney kids in there all the time. But you look on the outside, and it's a Masonic temple. It says it's old. Massive one right there on Hollywood Boulevard. But that's where I was down there watching, the Ravenettes play. And that guy, Jimmy Kimmel, man, that scared me. Did you know, Greg, we've been invited to play 5 times on Conan and 4 times on Late Night, and they canceled every single time from the words on their bosses?
I mean, did they cancel before you got there, or were you there?
All of a sudden, it becomes a non-issue. They call me up, and they waste all this time. They even booked me on the Red Room on Fox to go up against those commentators about something.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but it was really funny because I was asking these people asked me, and then the owners of these stations, the powers that be, were like, "You cannot have this guy on the television." He'll tell us the secret. Kid Rock's only 4.5 feet tall.
This has definitely made my night, brother, and I still get to DJ too, so it's all been good, you know.
Well, we'll have a chat about anything, any old time. We're all hooked up.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I want you to like have the wheels spinning in your head about this situation. Like if you could imagine like looking into like a vacation. You know the way when I set up recording sessions for people or anything, my way is I like people to record every other day.
Right.
Unless if people are mixing and you got people checking in and out, and then you can do it in shifts or whatever. But it just works out better. You're liable to get more done in one day if you do it right than you are in 5 days going, we only have 6 days in Berlin, man, we got to record.
Right, of course.
If you just take that out of the picture. So I just want you to know that you always got a plan, a pot to plan in.
Yeah, no, I'm actually, ever since we were talking about that.
Well, keep that in your mind, because I figure, even if you rope somebody with you together, like we were talking about rowing back with somebody, we'll make that happen. We'll make that happen, and it doesn't matter, like, it's not even a career, like, nothing. If I never make a record again, my son's fine. Who cares? But, like, it's like, that's what I want to do, is make some cool shit. I don't want to just disappear. I don't even have to be, like, on the cover of Mojo. Fuck that.
You will.
Nope, they won't, man. I help those guys out all the time. I get those guys into all my shows. The owners of that shit, I go to their fucking their awards thing. They'll never do that. You know why? England, Elliot tipped me this, but absolute fact. When I started doing John Peel sessions, and Elliot had never been invited, I go, Elliot, what was it like when you did John Peel? He's like, I've never done any of that stuff. I'm like, you never played Reading, any of that shit? No. Never invited anything. You're not in any of them. I come to think, I never seen you in Enemy. He's like, yeah. It's because you and I had 6 albums out before they even heard our name. So they don't want to write about you because they didn't discover you. And they're not going to knock you down because you're going to knock their bands down. Where the fuck is the Coral's new record?
They have to promote Ash or some sort of shit like that.
But I mean, where the fuck is the Coral's new record? Where the fuck are any of these people? Where the fuck is Well, Kasabian just made one, but they're in the big washing machine cycle. They're gonna be like, lay goose lay until it's done.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's a kind of deal that you can get, like the Dandies had for a while, where you've got so much money invested in the right person in the corporation that they cannot turn around because their name's on it. They're not going to walk away from it. So it's like this magic situation if you're in a group. Because all of a sudden they're making $500,000 videos and shit because they're trying anything. Like, fuck it, let's get Dave LaChapelle in here. Just like ridiculous shit. Let's have the gardener from Duran Duran mow your lawn, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to let you go.
Well, before I go, what about stuff like, why do they don't like buy into a lot of stuff, but they love stuff like the horrors and the kills.
You know what it is? Man, they're nipping stuff in the bud. Well, I always get the kills. Which one's the band from Utah? Not Jamie's in the kills. Jamie's fucking dead on cool.
Yeah, Jamie's awesome.
He's awesome. And believe it or not, Kate isn't a dickhead. She just, makes mistakes like everybody else.
Sure, we all do.
I mean, you can't really judge her because she had a relationship with Pete, who's a total dickhead or something, right?
Yeah, well...
I mean, her relationship didn't work out with Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp ended up with his dream girl, and that didn't work out, so, I mean, it's all... Maybe it did. You know what I mean? It's like, that's life.
Well, all right, I'm gonna split off into the ether and go play some soul records to some kids.
Awesome.
Try and spread the revolution on one record at a time. They're 45 RPMs.
Awesome.
So it was really great talking to you. And
so at that exact rate, how many revolutions can you cause per minute?
You know what? I really don't know.
45. 45 revolutions per minute.
45 RPMs, and depending if it's a long player, then 33 and a half, 33 and a third.
78, and there's actually one that goes, there's 16. Large size for the Navy, where they play those like half-hour long talks for like public service on old records. There's large size records that are like a meter across and players. And that was the cool thing about John Peel too, is that they had the oversized Ataris with the 1 hour reels. Not 15-minute 2-inch, an hour long. Just custom made.
Wow, that's
it's really cool. If you play in a space rock band and you want to record on tape, that's the deck you need. You know, you're like, fuck it, just roll the tape. It'll be going for an hour.
Oh man.
Okay, take care, you guys.
Yeah. Hey, let's
Anytime.
end soon.
All right.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody. Okay, there goes Greg Foreman. Let me just save this really quick, and we'll get to music. Okay, like this.